Back to our panel now. Molly Shakur, Roland Martin, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, and James Edwards. So what is it, Roland, that whites don't get about the black church experience?
Well, it's not a question of that. The bottom line is our...
But it is. We're not there. We're not packing the churches with you side by side.
Look, but here's the reality. Our churches come from our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods typically are segregated, and that's the reality of it. Also, different worship experiences, and that's what you have there. You do have people who don't want to be honest about celebrating one God, but they want to be separate because they have different perspectives when it comes to worship.
Molly?
And why would we worship together? I mean, historically, we have to, the self-segregation topic, we have to look historically on what this is about and how it got to be this way. Whites have always driven segregation, and historically, African people had to hide their religion, their spirituality when they came here. So there's always been that separation, and there was safety in segregation for what you're calling self-segregation. That's about safety, that's about protection.
We want to hear what you have to think about this. We asked you our quick vote question: is self-segregation bad for race relations in the U.S.? 46% of you said yes, 37% said no, 17% says doesn't matter. We should make it clear the results are not scientific. What do you make of those results?
Well, I don't know what to make of the results. I mean, obviously the people who tune in to CNN probably wouldn't be of a conservative persuasion for the most part. But getting back to the churches, as a Christian...
Well, it's not that we measure that by our quick
Well,
vote.
no, but listen, as a Christian, I've always been under the impression that it was the role of the church to bring people into the acceptance of Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, not to preach the failed social gospel of cultural Marxism. And I reject the term segregationist. I reject the term separatist. I'm a man who is proud of his ethnicity. Is Mr. Martin a black separatist because he's proud of his race?
No, I'm not a black separatist. I am a Christian. And what I understand during Holy Week is that you cannot stand here as a so-called Christian and talking about walking in the footsteps of Jesus and dare say you are a separatist. That is absolutely against...
I didn't say it. You did.
That is absolutely against what Jesus stood for.
Thank you.
Billy Graham was the first to say that the churches are separated on Sundays between blacks and whites. Well, white Americans need to understand that things are not going to change until they get over this false guilt that they have about the condition or concerning the conditions of black folks. They're going to have to get over the fear.
You mean you're saying we white people feel tremendous guilt?
Right,
and that's
false
what's
guilt.
hanging us up on fostering better relations between blacks and whites?
It's not your fault. So whites have to get over the fear. Whites must get over that fear and start standing up and defending themselves.
Paula, here's what has to happen.
Things would change.
Before we get to what happens, we've gotten a lot of email, and a lot of folks are really mad at you tonight, Molly, so I want you to respond to this one.
So.
They say, Elizabeth, I take great exception with the woman on your show. I hope they mean you, not me. Yeah, this is you that said this. That said, if you are white, you are born racist. I think it is ignorant to think that everyone white is born racist, and I think it perpetuates the problems that we have with racism.
I said you cannot be raised in this country and not be racist. That's what I'm saying, is we are raised as racist.
But Mother,
I don't believe that.
you are a racist. Are you saying that you, a white woman, you are racist?
I'm becoming
then you need to get over that.
No, it's
Why
I am.
are you racist?
The work that
Why
I'm
are you
doing.
simply because you're white?
Could I finish one sentence?
No, but why do you consider yourself a racist?
Yeah.
Because
Jesse, let him talk.
If you just let me finish. So, if you grow up in this culture, this is a white supremacist society. We were founded on white supremacist principles. The founding fathers had slaves. We have not gotten.
We're not living in the 1800s anymore.
Well, okay, look at the criminal justice system. Why is it that 70% of the jail space is taken up by African Americans?
Because
and
they
they
are
are
committing
14%
crimes.
of the population.
They are committing crimes. They don't have attorneys to get them out of jail.
Okay,
That's why
James.
Personal insult.
Okay, final word.
The personal insult is the last recourse in an exhausted mind. Only European Americans are called racist for wanting to look after their cultural interests.
Final word from you, Roland. Quick one.
To change this, you have to have black pastors and white pastors actually discuss what James Meeks is doing in Chicago. With Salem Baptist Church in Willow Creek. They are getting together with the congregation and saying, this is how we break down racism.
You got 10 seconds.
For 400 years, and I think it's time that we take a look at
You need to get over your racism.
And I don't think a softball pastor will be trying to break this down.
Oh, it's so hard to cut off a reverend, but I have to. Someone's got to pay for this.
Are you sure he's a reverend? Check the papers.
Yeah, he is.
Are you sure? I don't know.
All right,
Check
we'll
the
be right
paperwork.
back. Thank you, team.